Let me just start now. Hi guys. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for joining in. And so the way I would actually go about this entire thing is to basically just give a description about myself and the company that we are, and then talk about what tech entrepreneurs should be doing so that they can actually on the in the digital space, the way they should be looking at the digital marketing to digital strategy, and then how they could go out and become successful with the from idea to. For me, there are a few stages that I see for a entrepreneur, especially a technology entrepreneur, because there is a product most of the times or a service. But so first is getting the MVP, which is the minimum viable product out there in the market. Usually, timelines of 6 months to 1 year are taken, and sometimes it just goes into 1.5 to 2 years also to get the MVP in place. But I personally prefer it to be more to 3 to 6 months, coming from my experience. So, so when they're going from the MVP to what I would call it is the first revenue or the first dollar, and then from first dollar to, let's say, getting regular orders um, on a daily basis, and then the scale up happens to be first profit, and then the scale up happens to be really get into market share kind of a scenario. So through entire of this process, digital marketing plays a very important role, and I have been a entrepreneur since 2003. 2003, I set up an e-commerce company, which is into gifting. We deliver flowers, gift baskets, chocolates, and cakes, wine, and alcohol across 12,000 cities, 80 plus countries. And it's been so the way I would put it is, so since the nascent stages of e-commerce and internet, I've actually adapted over the period. So I've seen a lot of trends happening. Some of them have actually become stable, become part of our life, whereas a lot of things have fallen down and they never could see the light of the day. So through this entire journey, what I've understood is having an opinion, having an understanding of what is how something affects your business is very important. So I would actually go through some, at the end of this webinar, I would actually be talking about few frameworks that I believe will help you be relevant to the market at any point of time. So other than that company, I've actually it's been 18 years since I ran that company, since I've been running that company, and 2 years back I've set up this Prile, which is a digital consulting firm, and I have worked with almost 10 entrepreneurs or small and medium enterprises, starting from so the way I so um, starting from retail to healthcare, IT, ITES, hospitality, tourism, fintech, HR industry, and agri-tech. And it's been a journey where a lot of questions got asked, and based on the experience and my understanding of the what do you call digital marketing, we were able to help these entrepreneurs and companies achieve. So so broadly, it's been 27 plus projects over the last few years, and we've generated 100 million plus traffic. We've done 50 million plus revenue for our clients, and so that's the experience that we bring on the table. And some of these things are actually something that I've been telling to potential customers, to anybody that I come across, to clients, as necessary to be looked at. So let's get into the broadly what we do is, again, we're working with companies, is we help them do business model innovation, understand, appreciate their business model, the customer, the value propositions, and how how the entire revenue stream should be looked at and all that. We help companies do that. Digital marketing strategy, a lot of times we have helped put the strategy in place, and then the brand and communication strategy. And we also work on digital market validation. So if a certain city to a certain geography or a certain customer segment, we really want to look at whether it works or not, whether they are suitable for or our product is suitable for them or not. We actually have helped that validation happen to grow specific segments of customers. And then we also worked on customer journey optimization and look at the entire journey of the customer from being a prospect or the need arises to actually making the entire sale, and maybe even beyond the sale, getting into loyalty. We look at all these things and say how the journey can be optimized. That's broadly about me, the company, and let's get into the actual presentation. So what I see here, when we do this presentation is, when we get into digital marketing strategy is, we go from the first thing that we attempt. I think an entrepreneur should attempt is the goals and the objectives that they want to achieve. From there to getting into identifying the customers, and then identifying the competition, and then understanding where the role is in terms of the market. And then that is when you get into which channel to be used, which digital marketing channel to be used, whether it is content marketing that works, should we be mobile, should we develop a mobile app, should we develop a mobile friendly website, is email marketing worth it? There's so many things that can be answered, and then get into the analytics, because everything in digital is measurable. So putting the dashboards together and then checking out as to how it works. So this is a typical process that we go through for every client, and that's experience tells us that this works. So just to help you understand how this works, I've actually taken an example. So identifying your customers. So what we look at is what we should be looking at is something like this, where we define the buyer persona. So there is, on one side is there is an intrinsic understanding of who the customer is, but putting it down on the paper really helps. So you could see here, what typically we ask, what we typically should be asking, which is the starter questions. So personal information, professional information, values and fears, any goals and challenges that they are facing at that point of time, and how we could help it, to what are they, where are they, and negative information, are these customers you don't want. Sometimes it's good to reject certain customers also. So what we see is we put together this kind of a profile. It's actually so it's about working with doing some research, talking to a specific customer target group who you believe are good for your product or service, and then that's how you most probably, a lot of iteration can happen here, but finalizing this is very important. And then once that happens, then what we look at is the value propositions. So this is a specific framework that we look at, how the product is helping, that's called the gains, and how the product or service is helping solve the pain, so problems that are getting solved, and then the customer jobs. So most of the times what happens is we are trying to whatever is the need that the customer has is being done already by something else. And what we are trying to do with a new product or a service is to replace what they're using now with ours. Okay, so people, like, even if it is Google, people were searching for information. It's just that they were using something else. Google came and said, I do a better job at it. Therefore, Google became a lot more interesting. WhatsApp also, before we were talking in SMS. Today we actually, so the jobs are how the customer is getting the job done is what is getting replaced. It's not really that you're trying to bring a new habit most of the times. It's most probably already being done through some other means. So it's very important to understand how that is getting satisfied. Therefore, are able to come out with something, where you can actually show the gain and the pain, how you saw the pain points. And to help in this entire process, I suggest these two tools. Let me just click on them and then show it to you. So you could see here the business model analyst. I will actually be sharing this presentation to everyone post this webinar. So what you could see here is there's a lot of downloads that you can see, value proposition download. You could actually see here. This is something that they actually help you, and they also have what do you call videos to understand how to get this right, all these things, so that the value proposition actually comes out. So this, and then the other one, so which is the strategizer, which actually is the original website that has lot of free tools, canvases, we could actually use. So you can actually see, download, you can actually create even business models, value propositions, team alignment map, business portfolio map. There's so many things that you can do. They have a lot of interesting ones, but the one that we typically use is the value proposition canvas. Okay. And so coming to this, so what you can see is at the end of this is something that we typically end up with. Okay, and so you could see here the description. This is for an amusement park, and you could see the customer target group. How we're able to define a lot more what do you call in-depth, and this has been done through more and more understanding of the customer. So we usually say, there's a customer target group one. This is their profile, and then what is the value propositions that they're looking for. So obviously here there's working parents with kids, and the value proposition is they're stressed through the entire week. Now they need a stress buster. They want to really have a valuable family time. So we write all these things down so that it helps us understand what they're looking for, and therefore define certain product features and certain service features. So you could see the second one is the young adults, both male and female, who are most probably in their first job or doing their graduation. So they are actually looking for more challenging themselves and challenging friends during recreation. They want to brag and show their special activities. So this actually helps us understand how to communicate and what kind of what you call recreational activities we can create, which actually makes them feel this at the end of the activity. So this is something that we have actually, this can be done for every business. I highly recommend that we should be doing this. So this is the first one that tech entrepreneurs should know, that this is possible. There are tools that we could actually tools that actually help out there to make this happen. Next is identifying the competitors. Very important thing that I would like about digital is there's a way to look at this entire digital assets. So whether you call it the owned media, the paid media, the earned media, or the shared media. So you could see here with examples as to how this one looks like. So owned media is mostly it is your website, and paid media is, of course, what you are paying for, which is the ads. You may pay to do certain lead generation, to sponsored posts, to boosting, to your Google AdWords and all that. And then earned media, you could actually get into blogger, somebody else talking about you, which is the media, the blogger, the investor, the influencer. And then the shared media is how you could actually, when people start sharing your own work, you could actually see the impact. So these are the different digital assets that are out there, and it's more about how do you put all these things together to work for you. So it's like a machine which actually has all these parts, and then how do you see you using this to take advantage of it. So we have a small framework. So what we do is we typically do this kind of an analysis, and this is for our own company, thinkprile.com. So you could see here when you compare the kind of competition versus us, obviously having a website, mobile site, blog site, social media channels, everybody is using in this space. And then you could see brand sharing, brand mentions, reposts, reviews, SEO and branded content. Again, you know who's where and what you need to develop, and what could be a priority before the others. So something like SEO and the branded content, a lot of people are using. So you would really want that to be developed before you develop the rest of the, whether it is the reviews or the brand mentions. You target them. You most probably want to first do SEO and branded content. And you could see paid media, nobody is using it. So it doesn't make sense for you to use paid media, whether it is the social media paid media or the Google AdWords or paid influencers. You may not want to use it. And then social channels, again, we look at this and say how are which channel is more important than the other. You could obviously see here uh, LinkedIn, and maybe, to an extent Twitter, to an extent Facebook, but LinkedIn is the leading place where, the competition exists and is active. So what we should be looking at is how do we, so the entire world is looked from a LinkedIn lens, instead of saying, we don't have to really think about Instagram and reels and how does this happen and all that. Instead, just focus on LinkedIn and how it works, and then maybe use the others just for distribution purposes. So this is something that we do. So this is the different digital assets. This is how you would look at it. Therefore, you know your priorities, and therefore you could see here how this what do you call plan can be made. You could see how the cost versus ROI of different what do you call channels. So whether it is basic SEO, social media posting, Facebook marketing, webinars, trade shows, thought leadership marketing, you could see the cost versus the ROI. So it actually helps us to be on the green. That actually, so that's been the empirical experience in the digital space. So when you're making your product and you want to go live, once the MVP is ready, you would actually be looking at what is that you would like to show or do before the others. So in terms of you could see, like something like Facebook marketing, it costs a lot, but the ROI is low. So you would most probably move towards the rest of the channels. So this is something that helps build the reach. And so once you have actually the value customer target group, value proportions, and where you want to promote, all you are doing at the end of the day is digital experiences. You're creating digital experiences, and you're actually talking about how your product, through that experience, you can actually tell the greatness of your product or the service. And some of the tools that I see we could use, I would suggest, is Lean Content Academy. So what you could see here, let me just open this. So you could see they have a roadmap creator, content roadmap creator. You could even create a copy. These are, and they cost a lot less than a typical thing. And what we actually have even used it, tried some of these tools and find it interesting. The basic activities can be done through them. So you could see here creating an ad, creating a copy, and a content plan for the entire month. All of them they've done, using a framework. So this is a good tool. And then the other one is the smart sheet. So you could see here they also have again media templates that actually, they have an Excel that helps do strategic plan, have media plan, marketing for plan template, social media planning calendar template. So you could actually do all these things, try them for free in Excel formats, and therefore try. So it's not so for me, an entrepreneur obviously um, goes through all that learning and hard work. So they, if they put a small, quick hard work into this, they could actually get their basic digital marketing out there. Kickstarted is the way I would put it. Um, and once this monthly communication plan is there, so they are ready. They are ready for digital marketing because now they know the customer. Let me just, yeah. So They know the customer, they know the competition, they know which channels to do, they also know what to talk, and also have a plan now in place. So it's it's more about executing it. So this actually gives you small wins, so that certain kind of validations or revenue stream gets created. Again, coming to different tools that can be used to improve the awareness. So we can see here different tools that are there in the market. One is, so on the market planning side, there are some things. How do you attract the customer? How do you help convert the customer? To how do you nurture them? And how do you manage the CRM sales and closure, and then do the analytics part. So these are different tools at different stages of marketing that you could utilize. How does and how each stage of this customer journey is performing is something that we look at. We can look at. So this is again about the tools. There are different tools that are there. Okay, and these days something that's happening, and which I think I would strongly recommend a tech entrepreneur to use, is the automation part. So you could actually have a website chat to a WhatsApp to SMS, email, all of these things with a small flow. You can actually automate so that the customer journey is a lot more automated, and therefore you're actually looking at a lot more qualified leads than really attending to every customer that's knocking the door. So there's a lot of automation tools that have come up, and I mean, whether it is the WhatsApp what do you call automation, or the chat automation, email automation. There's so many things that have come up, tools. I should have given more examples. There's something called Messenger Box, that message box that we have recommended. We also see Segment.io. We also see Twilio as an example. Gupshup here in India, and Vati is the other one. So there's a lot of providers who actually help you set up all these automation to make sure that the entire journey is attended well and there is consistency of customer communication. So this is about the automation. And then one of the things that's happening out of all these things is the influencer marketing. So what you could see is, these days, especially with the information overload that is happening, it's very important that we start thinking about influencer marketing. When we say influencers, it is not necessarily movie celebrities and TV celebrities. It is more about the influencer in that subject matter, being able to, obviously, if you are as an entrepreneur reading a lot, the people that you really care for in that subject matter space. So it's about reaching out to them and explaining your product or service, and then helping, seeing if they could actually refer, or they may be able to talk about your product, is a very important thing. There's producthunt.com. There's a lot of cloud websites also that actually help you launch your product to the community. There's Reddit, there's Product Hunt. There are so many other tools that are there where you can actually reach out to the influencers in your subject space. A little bit of research can actually help. And that is another channel. And then the biggest question that I see tech entrepreneurs face is, making rather a big mistake is, visualize desktop solution, or visualize should we visualize a phone as a solution, and mobile first is the best way to go about it. So you could actually see here the statistics as of April 2020, that mobile phones, 52% of them are desktops, 45%, tablets 2.7%. So it's overwhelming, and I personally have seen even 80% of traffic coming from mobile. So mobile is number one. We should actually, and what does mobile friendliness and mobile first? The difference is, mobile friendliness is you design for desktop and you are making it comfortable for somebody to browse on the phone. Okay, that's mobile friendliness. And mobile first is you design for the phone, and then you start thinking about how a desktop person will experience your product or service. So mobile first is what actually is working out there. I highly recommend that the entire user experience is visualized on a phone more than any other device that is there. This is mobile first, and then mobile, even in mobile, whether it is mobile website versus mobile app, you could see here mobile website works a lot more than mobile app. Focus on building a mobile website instead of a mobile app, even if it is a um, product that you are delivering, even in SaaS, because mobile app is not really that much used. But there's a lot of debate, conversations that we can have around this space to see if a website or a app works. For certain industries and domains, app definitely is better than a website. But for most of the B2C kind of scenarios, a website is better than an app, mobile app. Mobile website is better than mobile app. So this is another thing. And then finally, everything in digital is measurable. So this is a simple funnel that a tech entrepreneur should know. There's no nuclear science to making this happen. So first you look at top of the funnel, reach, ad impressions, keywords, and then look at how they are getting converted into actual visits, actual page use. Then get into, why are these people leaving, to who is reading, and who is actually converting into a lead is something that we can look at. And then bottom of the funnel is how many of these leads are getting converted into prospects, sale, how is loyalty being built, and how do you convert them into customer advocates. So this is a simple funnel. There's no and more, it's about focusing. Maybe in the beginning you don't really need these many steps, but knowing that there is a top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel is enough to actually start designing and to build the MVP and to get that first dollar in, first profit or first dollar and regular sales happening. And I think after that you can go as deep as you want it. So this is about digital marketing, analytics and funnel. And one few things that I really wanted to mention from the beginning: the tech entrepreneurs should focus on getting the reviews, and there's so much of, I mean, given that there's so much of information overload, reviews, reputation actually differentiates you from the competition more and more as you start growing. So focusing from day one on reputation is very important. These are some, some of the websites that actually provide, which we find to be very decent solutions. And then two more. One is lean startup model. If you have not read about it, please read about lean startup, because you actually are reducing the amount of time, effort, and money that you're spending significantly if you follow the startup model. And it is simple. You have an idea, you build quickly, you go and deploy it to the customer, you go and deploy to the customer, and then learn from it, and then go make these iterations stronger and stronger. So that's how you build it, and be customer focused and be revenue focused actually is what this says. This is not, again, nuclear science, but that discipline is what, how do you get the discipline, how do you put, how each step can be visualized, how do you build from idea to specific product or a service, and then how do you put how do you measure what the customer is doing, and then using that, how do you learn. There's a lot of things that have actually a lot of work that has gone into it. Please read about lean startup model. It will help you save time, effort, and money. And then finally, this is something that I have actually seen over the last 1.5 years. I have personally learned it, and I really believe everybody who is becoming an entrepreneur should learn, is jobs to be done. And this is written by Ulvik. And you could see, so like I said earlier, everything, whether it's a product or a service, we are trying to replace the job that is already happening. So somebody is using that one or the other tool to satisfy that job, and what you're trying to do is really replace that tool. So it actually, once you start understanding this, and this jobs to be done framework has actually come out of Ulvik, who's actually been part of a lot of innovation of innovation process in Fortune 100 companies. So they've spent millions of dollars, and what is observed is only one to two innovation projects actually succeed out of 10. And so what is done is basically is actually gone into and found out to increase that rate of, that 10 to 20% rate to 50 to 60%, because so much money was getting wasted. He's actually developed this framework which actually helps people to see so your innovation, your product, actually whether it is suitable or not, the probability of it, if you go through this framework, actually improves from 10% to almost 50 to 60%. So do read this. This is something that's really happening out there, whether it is the European market or the American market. I see JTBD being a framework that's being used a lot. So we as tech entrepreneurs, I know, this frameworks that we follow, this processes that we follow, we love it. This is again, actually, that's the reason I actually put it here, because innovation process and agile development are not really different from each other. So it is very important that you read this. This is the final recommendation I have for the digital marketing and strategy session, and I would like to conclude. Okay, so please, questions for me.
Yeah, Rishi, it's a very nice and useful talk. Thank you very much. Okay. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Actually, I have many questions. First, I start with a personal one. Okay. Actually, what inspired you to pursue career in digital marketing? Actually, I gone through your profile. Long back, you switched into that area, right? So, which one?
Sure. Sure. Actually, I am an engineer by learning, and so I'm an electronics and communication engineer. And I'm sure, you were if you were there around that time, 1990s, that kind of industry that we have was not. So obviously it was technology, but I'm also a very marketing. I like marketing. So techno marketing part of internet is what really interested me. E-commerce, because you have to understand technology at the same time, you are actually doing sales and marketing. So that's what really interested me into this entire space of e-commerce and internet and digital, because there's technology and marketing.
Okay, and actually, you might have seen the traditional kind of marketing also, right? Actually, from your perspective, what is the unique advantage of digital marketing? There may be a lot of different advantages, right? What is the unique thing you feel about digital marketing?
Two, I mean, number one is it is measurable. It can be targeted. It is measurable. Therefore, it's really interesting. The more so there's so much of data out there about the customers and what you can target and what you cannot target. So therefore, because there's data, you can actually go out and uh, target, and therefore you can actually go out and measure, and therefore your cost of actually experimentation goes down. So I like analytics. The second thing that I have found is the quicker experiments that you can do. Even for deploying, the kind of iterations that are possible is definitely not possible in the physical world. So if you don't like an ad, you just replace it in seconds. So that actually helps you a lot, adapt a lot. So the quickness of change that you can do, and then that you can measure, are the two things why what I think is different for digital from physical world, physical marketing.
Okay. Uh, And another thing is, similar to advantage, there may be some disadvantages also, right? Actually, I heard about some risks also in the digital marketing kind of thing. It is difficult to like erase the past data, something, right? So you might have done your product promotion in some way, but later on you cannot suddenly change it, right? The search
Yeah,
engines and social sites, everything will be like recording the details. Your freedom will be reduced, right? So how you may be facing another risks also. So can you explain about risks and the ways to manage or handle them effectively?
sure, sure. So number one risk I think is more authentication of a person, because especially I come from an e-commerce background where we literally go through every transaction, assuming it is fraud, and unless proved otherwise, it's fraud. So that's the biggest risk that we see. But there's a way to handle it today, especially the way, and I'm really proud that the Indian financial system in terms of fraud is way ahead of the way it is done in the US or the Western world. So you have the OTP authentication. Actually, we are right now integrating the 3D integration, which is the OTP process, into this entire system. That actually is a very good solution. But that's the biggest risk that I see. If you don't understand it, you actually end up losing, your. So you may actually end up losing revenue. You may actually be losing your even your inventory. You may be wasting your time also on that. So authentication of the user in a way where it's not that person is not fraud or is the most important thing. Then the second thing is the security of the entire system, whether it's your product or service. And I mean, thankfully for us, in 18 years, we've never been hacked. Uh, we have actually only been threatened once. We have had denial of service, I think maybe 5 times or 6 times in 18 years. And so for me, that security system is really important to work on it from day one to keep it secure, because you can lose all your reputation if your customer data is lost. So one, customer authentication. Second is losing this data, customer, not just customer data, but denial of service, attacks. So that is the second risk that I see. Then the third one, I think when we do digital marketing, uh, uh, the look and the feel is not there. That is something, so for us, your reputation, your what I would say is, if you're especially purely e-commerce or purely digital, in terms of your delivery of service or product, the biggest problem that is there is there is no way you could actually connect to the customer and know the reason why they don't like you or why they like you. So that transparency is not there. You may still know the customer is logging in, using it. So that's something that a physical world provides that the digital doesn't provide. So you have to put a lot more effort for getting the reputation, building the reputation, and getting a lot more customer reviews. That's something that is a bigger effort and a bigger risk in terms of digital. I think broadly these three are the ones that I'm able to immediately think.
Uh, and another question is like, how do we know that the point at which we have to stop doing digital marketing? Like, we may be feeling that, right, it is going in the negative ROI. So, what is the point? Because personally, I struggle to identify in many products. For example, my timesheet and stuff. I spend a lot of money, then only I realize that it is not going to work out like that. So, can you please give
Yeah,
some more
I
details?
think the problem that exists in digital, the number of options that are there for you to try. Therefore, what happens is you don't know when you have failed enough to move away from spending. That's the biggest problem that I see, even I face. So, what I do is, I start with the beginning. Seven habits of highly effective people. Start with the end in mind. So you should know what is the output that you want at the beginning, clearly define that goal, and the minute that goal is not reached, or you know that it's not going to be reached anymore, you should have the discipline to move away from it. Whether it is the social media spend, whether it is, no, sorry, whether it is the ad spend, or whether it is a feature, the only thing that I see is revenue, or any other goal that you may have. It could be downloads, it could be a specific feature being used, but that goal being clear, and if you see that it's not getting achieved, have the discipline to move away and stop that activity, is the way I would really define.
Okay. And my another question is like, what is your prediction about the future of the digital marketing? Whether the current trend like SEO, PPC, content marketing, that will continue for next 4 5 years, or whether many people are talking about emerging technologies like blockchain-based content platforms and like creator economy, like. Lot of emerging technologies are coming, right? Whether they, especially the metaverse, the virtual reality kind of stuff, whether they will be taking care very quickly or it will take some time.
Yeah, sure. So this is where I get reminded by of our investor, who invests mostly in the physical world, is the way I would put it, not in the digital space. And he's actually a retailer person, and he has run a very big retail chain. But that person says, if you even today, when you see the proportion of digital revenue versus the revenue that the physical stores generate, it's not even 10%. And it took almost 20 years for that 1% to become 10%. So what happens with all these emerging technologies is, some of them will obviously become part of our experience, digital experiences. But I think they're not going to replace the physical world, number one. Number two is, even in terms of the emerging technologies, obviously the world has changed. So Web3 will be there. All of them will be used appropriately. I think what is happening right now is a lot of buzz and a lot of use cases that are getting created, which work and which don't work. But at the end of the day, I think there'll only be a small portion of the entire big universe. So that realization has to be there for any entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur, especially because it's very too easy to get carried away that technology solves everything and that replaces a lot of things.
Okay. Uh, Actually, you talked about automation, right? Using automated tools for our convenience. But I heard about some negative things about them also, right? Even personally, I noticed something. Say, for example, if you are using chatbots instead of actual customer care person, we may not be understanding the feeling of the customers, right? Real feeling. We may be getting data about them like that, but it is very difficult to understand their point of view or their feeling, especially emotions. We are missing that data, right?
Yeah, sure. That is 100% right. Therefore, the only way this can be solved happens to be giving an option of being able to talk to the agent directly, if necessary, as necessary. But because most of the times what we have found, especially in internet retail, is 70% of all the conversations are transactional in nature. What we are solving through automation is address those transactional questions quickly, and in a way where there is no emotion involved. The remaining 30% obviously has to be routed to the human agent, where a lot more empathy can be had.
Okay, that means we have to use both, right? In a right
We have to use
mixture of.
an option at every interaction with the customer. We have to give an option to be able to talk to a human being, and of course use AI/ML to be able to automate it if necessary. Now use those keywords and languages to be able to see, especially at high scale things. AI/ML can help actually route it to the human being if certain trigger words are there.
Okay. And as you said, AI, it's developing fastly, right? Actually, I heard about many AI tools, especially the Open AI Playground. they're automatically creating advertisements, and even they are creating content. It's very difficult to distinguish between whether it's automatically created or human written, right? So whether you will be advising using that kind of automation?
No, I think AI/ML itself is growing as we are speaking. So I think I'm sure the solutions will come in the future that are definitely better than whatever is there now. So I think AI/ML is the path, but I don't think it is there yet for it to really be delivering value to a. And the way I would put it is the big companies actually are using it a lot better than the small companies. And by the time it comes into the purview of the small companies to use AML, I think there is a time lag.
Okay, I got your point, but my question is about whether we can use it or not. Like when I explored the Open AI, it's very like unimaginable. It's creating a lot of content with quality content. Even if you give your product description 2 3 lines, it is creating amazing advertisements. So I'm just asking whether it's reliable or whether we can go with that or any other negative things there.
So, I mean, my personal experience has been we have used copywriters, AI copywriters to write copies. We've used AI to build, let's say, on-page content and on-page delivery. And so, for me, beyond the point, they are good quick starts at this point of time. All the AI-based solutions are good quick start solutions, but they're not necessarily replacing or they're not at an advanced stage at all to help you solve the bigger problems, the real problems. So they're still at a nascent stage. Am I making sense, Raja?
Yeah, correct. But whether you are expecting it to be the mainstream in few years, or it will
Yes,
take
of
longer.
course. Of course. I mean, we are actually, our office is in T Hub. Me and my colleagues discussed that T Hub in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, sorry, Telangana, and it's like the number one innovation center in the world. And so what we discuss is 80% of the companies there are only AI/ML companies. So we see a lot of work happening there. So definitely they're going to go mainstream. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Uh, and you were saying that LinkedIn is effective for you, right, for doing digital marketing. So, but my personal experience is it's costly, right? When I explored ads, comparing to Google ads, PPC, other things, the prices are very much higher, right? You mean to say that
For
giving returns?
which one is giving returns?
I'm I'm asking about LinkedIn. Actually, in the talk you mentioned that LinkedIn is effective for you, right? So I'm asking this.
Yeah, okay. Into that. So, okay, so just to come here, LinkedIn is in terms of the cost and ROI. The reason is this is more about B2B more than B2C. That it is a lot more cost effective because obviously B2B transactions are a lot more costlier, or rather the average cost is very high, or the average project cost is very high. Therefore, it is coming up here as a higher ROI. LinkedIn is a lot more useful uh, when your target is a lot more definable through a job or through a certain job role.
Okay. And another question is, personally, I faced from my experience, I can say that getting traffic from Google search is much more effective than any kind of marketing, like digital marketing. So, is that true for everyone, or it's just happened for me?
You mean normal search engine, right? Not the paid search engine.
Yeah, not
You are
basic organic. I'm
yeah,
talking about.
long run. There is only one way you can actually go out and make more money is through organic search results. All the others are only short term, and building the brand. So again, it comes back to search because people start. If you're able to initially spend certain money, build a brand, then the search results start, and once the search comes in, you actually are in a what do you call in the right place. The ROI improves because of organic search. So that's the mainstream according to me. For a period of time, search should start working.
Okay. And one of the important question is, I don't know whether I can ask you to now, but let me ask it. Actually, many of us are like outsourcing the like digital marketing stuff to other people, right? Especially freelancer like you are. But I'm reading a lot of negative feedback about that, right? If say for example, even personally I affected many times. For example, when I asked to promote my YouTube video, I don't know what they did, but the like like it reduced the watch time. It showed a lot of views, but it reduced the watch time. It heavily affected my channel. So like this kind of risk, how to manage, whether we can outsource any work, or whether it is better to build a in-house team, or whether we can outsource.
Yeah, actually, for me, it depends on the company, whether the core work, because over the last so many years, what I've seen is like, we are working with a company that is into carbon credits. So they sell carbon credits. That's a trading platform. So for them, digital is definitely not core to them. So they're thinking about having developing an in-house team is not going to work. But the question that they're asked, they obviously are asking is, what kind of a team do I need on the other side that helps us in the digital space? So what we were able to do was, it's about brand and outreach. So the goals really give the answer. Lot of times the goal, if it is brand reach or then outsourcing really helps. But the minute it goes into conversions and all that, an inside team is lot better. So something like, we are actually working with another company to do their webinar marketing. And for us, their internal team, there's a person in the internal team that is actually helping us, because we may be good at delivering webinars, but we really need an inside digital marketing person who appreciates what we are doing. So there, sometimes that has worked. So it really depends on the industry and the company, but in general, outsourcing with goals is a lot better, because it's quick, easy way to go out and try digital space, get validation done. Then we can take a decision whether we will build the team in house or not. And I know, out of the audiences, there are so many digital marketing people itself. So I know that, to find that kind of people to do the job for you in house is very difficult. They're either costly or not available. So
Okay.
outsourcing, so just to summarize, outsourcing is good if the goals are clear. It is good to validate whether digital works for you or not.
Okay. Uh, Actually, time over, right? Okay. Thanks for
Yeah,
your
I
valuable.
know actually raised the hand, and I was hoping I could hear him out. Hey, Krishna Pratik, I'm assuming you'll be given a mic or something. Hello. I think we are done now. Hey guys, thanks. Have a great day and a great weekend. And happy Diwali to all of us.